by establishing good communication and enforcing superior business practices. Bid values over $10,000 in RFPs are publicly advertised in the Chicago Tribune. So you can pick up a paper and you'll be able to see it with the paper or online. Bids and RFPs are posted weekly to view, and they can be downloaded on the COC Department of Procurement Services RDPS website, which is www.chicago.gov/bids, and also at www.chicago.gov/city in Department DPS iSupplier current bids. You will be able to find all the bids that are coming through the Department of Procurement Services via those two websites. You can also go to our bid and bond room, which and it's going to be in City Hall in room 103, and that's going to be at 121 North LaSalle. Let's see. You can you can also see the COC buying plan and register your company for DPS alerts, which is what Jackie just went over. And that's going to be the DPS website, again, at www.chicago.gov/procurement. It's always a good idea to attend our pre-bid conferences. You can network with other potential bidders, and you can partner on bids as a subcontractor or as a prime to submit bid opportunities. You can check the bid takeout list posted on the DPS website always also. So now we'll go over an RFP versus a competitive bid. So a request for proposal, RFP, which is short, is a method of procurement to hire a professional service consultant to implement a new project in various professional services disciplines. It's always project specific and is used when a city does not have an in-house technical expert or resources to implement a project or provide services. So that's when you can submit your request. That's what a request for a proposal is, and you can submit your proposals for that if the specific job is something that your company would like to bid on. And then a competitive bid is a method of procurement to purchase supplies, equipment, maintenance and or repair services and for construction. Detailed bid specification prepared, structured as a project, specific quantities. It could be a one-time thing or a blanket thing. Excuse me 1 second. So then it's indefinite quality usage, and that means that depends upon requirements, terms, agreements for goods and or services. The proposal page line items include the defined unit of measurements and specific or estimated quantities. Okay, for bid specs detail every aspect of product or services. An RFP defines project objectives and scope of services, perimeters, but does not specify in detail every aspect of how to accomplish or perform the required services. The city seeks proposals from qualified vendors detailing their proposed plan to implement and complete the project. So usually vendors will send over proposals based off the scope that we advertised in the RFP, and they will at that point just tell us in detail how they will be able to perform the job that we are requesting to be completed. So an RFP entails a detailed evaluation of proposals by an evaluation committee, which are the EC members based on the evaluation criteria, which will always be published in the RFP, and it'll give you detail on the importance of what that specific RFP is, what we're requesting based on each like line item. The EC is comprised of various stakeholders, subject matter expertise from that specific department that's requesting the work, and from other departments within the city of Chicago. So for a competitive bid, the contractor award is to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Meeting cities specs based on department review of bid tabulation and recommendation of award. For an RFP, the vendor selection is to the highest rated and rank responded to the RFP, not to the lowest price. Price can be negotiated. That's where the EC members come in and they review the proposal and that you submit, and based off your proposal, they do select the best candidate that will do the job based off the proposal that you submit. That's why the proposal that you submit when you are trying to get an RFP with the city of Chicago, it's very important that it's always very detailed and with good understanding, so when your proposal is evaluated. RFP content is standard, but may vary depending upon the project. For example, it can be city funded or state, federal, or grant funding. Okay, sorry, Jackie. Okay, and then we have our WBE and our MBE versus DBE goals. So a minority business enterprise, which is an MBE, and women business enterprise, and then WBE participation goals typically are in all city funded projects. Disadvantaged business enterprise DBE participant goals may be required for state or federal grant funded projects. If DBE goals with local preference terms, like Chicago-based business preferences, will be moved if prohibited by the guarantor. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the RFP proposal format. So e-procurement, electronic proposals. Proposals must be in a Word searchable document. Selection of the proposal should be organized in subject matter sequence in the required content for proposal selection of the RFP. Each page should be numbered in manner to be uniquely identified. Proposals must be clear, concise, and well organized. And a redacted proposal must be also submitted with each, every time you submit a proposal, you should also submit a redacted proposal, just blacking out any of your personal or financial information in the redacted proposal, because if you are awarded the contract, your redacted proposal will be uploaded online. So the contents of the proposal, it should always include a cover letter, an executive summary, professional qualifications and specialized experience of respondents and team members, professional qualifications and specialized experience of key personnel, implementation of a work plan, your cost proposal. So it must be submitted on city forms and local comparison. Your MEBI-WEBI or DBE plan, which is Schedule C1 and D1. Financial statements must be at least 3 years. An EDS, the online economic disclosure statement, your certificate of filing. Legal actions must be 5 years, and insurance requirements are required at the time of the contract award. So always make sure when you're submitting proposals that you do take a look at the insurance requirements. That's very important. So when you're submitting your proposal, that your COI does have all of the required information that's going to be required for your contract to be awarded. So you do have to meet the insurance requirements. Okay, next slide. So RFP evaluation criteria will vary depending on the project, but the most common ones are as follow. Professional qualifications and specialized experience for local availability of team, the prime, the joint, the venture, partners or subcontractors, if any, current and past performance records, references, certification and or your license, professional qualifications and specialized experience for local availability of key personnel, your resumes, role on projects, organization chart dedication resources, implementation of work plans, again, your cost proposal, maybe Weeby commitment letter is very important. DBE may apply if federal project if it's a federally funded project. Your financial statements, compliance with laws, ordinance, and statutes, EDS certification, legal actions, and your conflict of interest. Okay. Let's see. Tips for preparing proposals. Okay. So exhibit forms that must be completed as part of the proposal submission will vary depending on the RFP, but the following exhibit forms are universal to every RFP. So you do have to, every RFP does have to have the company profile, company reference, client profile information, your MeeBee-Weeby or DBE compliance plan, and or a waiver, your EDS, your online economic disclosure statement affidavit, which includes disclosure of parties, retained parties, and familiar relationships with elected city officials and department heads or other certifications for online EDS instructions. You can visit the web apps .chicago.gov at EDS web. And again, your insurance certificate is going to be required at the time of award. So you can, okay, then review city standard contract term and conditions if attached as an RFP exhibit, if determined if your firm can be performed under those terms and conditions. Verify the existence of any addendum issued by the city before submitting a proposal. Next slide, please. Other tips for submitting an RFP proposal. The city has transitioned from paper proposal submission to online submissions of RFPs and RFQ via e-procurement. So proposals are only to be submitted and will only be accepted electronically. Vendors must register an iSupplier to submit electronic submissions through our e-procurement website. Proposals cannot be submitted via e-procurement after the published due date. It will not allow you to submit after the published due date. iSupplier refers to the city's e-procurement computer system for electronic bidding and providing contractors with access to contact, ordering, and payment information for their city contracts. You should allow 3 business days to complete registration. Pay attention to the RFP instructions for proposal submission requirements. A cover letter must be signed by an authorized officer and acknowledge any addendum issues. Make a checklist of all submitted requirements per the proposal required content selection to verify completeness of proposal before submitting your any documents to DPS. Okay. So the e-procurement RFP documents can be viewed and downloaded using the link which you see here. It was www.chicago.gov city /departments DPS iSupplier and your login registration. For addendum, it's going to be www.chicago.gov /e-procurement. For pre-proposal conference attendees, it'll be www.chicago.gov /city and departments DPS supplier _info 2027 bid and pre-proposal conference attendees. The takeout list can be found at www.chicago.gov/TOL. E-procurement workshop schedules can be found at www.Chicago City in Department DPS. Providers, e-procurement at e-procurement. And then e-procurement instructional documents can be found at www.Chicago City in Departments DPS iSupplier online training materials. So just take a look at those websites, and if you need to copy anything down, these are places for to submit for resource submission. Okay. Okay, so the proposal evaluation and award process. Respondents to the RFP are posted on the website. No other information about proposals or evaluation is available until the completion of the award contract. At that time, you will be able to go online and see who the contract was awarded to, using maybe the specification number, which will be viewable at the time when advertisement. All Freedom of Information Act, that's our FOIA requests received, are held until after the contracts have been awarded. Debriefing meetings can be requested in writing to our CPO. Evaluation Committee, the EC evaluates proposals in 3 phases. First is the preliminary proposal assessment checklist for responsiveness. So we'll be going through, they usually go through all of the proposals to make sure that all the required documents that were requested in the RFP, RFQ have been submitted. At that time, they will evaluate those proposals and do scoring so that we can pick companies and vendors that we want that have scored high and met the criteria for us to move to the next step. If it's necessary, we will do site visits, demonstrations, and oral presentations will be required if necessary. Vendor selection and decline letters will be sent to respondents as applicable. So the city is not obligated to select any vendor. So if the contract is going to be awarded to you, if we want to move to next steps, you will receive an award or a decline letter letting you know if you have made it to the next step of the award process. Contract award contingents on the successful negotiation of terms and pricing. The city is not obligated to award a contract. RFPs may allow multiple awards by service category or separate projects. Okay, slide. So at this time, we'll be taking questions if we have any.
All right. Thank you so much, Roche. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A panel at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. I'll give you a few minutes if you have any questions for Roche to answer. I will put the information that I have to give you in the chat panel, but feel free to put your information in the Q&A panel for that. Roche, if you want to add any final comments, feel free to do that at this time. Someone, before you do that, Roche, someone asked, will the slides be able to print? Yes, you can go online to chicago.gov/DPS and click on the icon that says training and outreach, I think it is. And then once you click on the training link, it will take you to the descriptions about each one of the workshops, and then the PowerPoints are underneath it where you can download a copy of the PowerPoint. And this PowerPoint is already up there, So feel free to download that. You won't get this one, but you will get the one that is there, and it is the same one. So yes, you can go online to get that. You can, if you don't want to go the way I just told you, just Google City of Chicago workshop, workshop PowerPoints, and it will take you directly there. Are there any additional questions? And if you have any, Roche, you can feel free to jump in here too. If you
Okay.
have any comments you want to add or tips you want to add as a final say, I'm just going to get real quickly some information that I can share with them.
Okay, I just wanted to say that when submitting your proposals for RFPs or RFQs, just always make sure that you have your redacted proposal. Make sure that you have all the information that's being requested in the proposal, because when you don't submit all the required information, that does that won't you it'll make your company won't you won't be qualified because of missing information. So just make sure that you read through it and that you do send your redacted proposal, and that you answer that your presentation that you're submitting your proposal has detailed information in it. So when the evaluation process starts, there is no question that you can provide the services that the city of Chicago is looking for.
All right, great information. We do want to encourage you to work with the city of Chicago and to bid on opportunities. So if you have at a later time, after you've reviewed these workshops in youtube.com /Chicago DPS, if you've gone over this workshop and you have additional questions, you can always email dps.events@cityofchicago.org. And I will definitely get the answer for you and get back with you and I'll put that in the chat area so that you can email us, and I will definitely get information for you and get back with you that information. If there are no more questions for our guest speaker, Roche Briscoe, I want to thank her so much for coming on today and giving you that information. If you find yourself, you have questions after, again, feel free to reach out to dps.events@cityofchicago.org, and we will get them answered for you and get it back to you. Thank you. If you have any additional questions or at this time, feel free to quickly put it in the chat as I am thanking Roche and thanking our participants for coming on today. We know you have a choice of being able to do other things today and working in your own businesses, and you have taken some time out to hear what we have to say and see what the tools are that we have to help you. Hopefully, you have found this workshop very interesting, and you will come back to additional ones. Second of all, at the end of this workshop, there is going to be a pop-up screen when you sign out of here, and it's a post survey. Any ideas that you have for topics coming up that you would like to see, this is your time. I ask you to voice your concern or voice your appeal to us, because I look at all of those as I am planning workshops and outreach events for going through to the future. So feel free to um, uh, uh, fill out that post survey, and that will give us some great information to use going forward. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free, again, as I said, to reach out to us. And I think we have one last question. Um, is there a way to search for RFPs that are related to training only to save time and not have to read the entire list?
Is related to training. Are you saying to like train you how to submit the RFP?
No, she's probably a vendor that her specialty or her industry is training,
Oh,
and
okay.
she wants to be able to work with us in that capacity, and that's probably what she's referring to.
Um, I don't think so. I think that you just have to watch the advertisements. I don't think that it's gonna specifically say that this is for training.
Correct. I think that what also will probably help you is the actual buying plan, because in our buying plan we have them segmented, the opportunities segmented out by industry or type of industry, professional services, so on and so forth. Also, I would recommend that you kind of hone in on where your training is, what type of training that you do. For instance, if it's more, youth oriented, maybe you would look at CTA for that. And then they have special outreach events to get you on their radar so that you are able to bid with them or gain contracts with them. And if it is another one of our city departments, I would suggest that you look on their website, and see in their procurement area if they're having special outreach events for training. Training is one of those professional services, and a lot of the departments do that themselves. It isn't like it's going to be a list necessarily in all of our buying plans all the time for that, because a lot of times they need that right away, and some of the departments have the ability to uh, hire people for different types of training based upon what type of training that you actually do. So I would just say, look through the buying plan, see if there's something that snaps you. If it does not, then look at where your training might lead you, what types of training it is. If it's health training, that would be the Department of Health, Public Health. Um, if it is more children oriented, maybe that's CPS. If it is more training for executives, that would be all of the departments or human resources. And then if it is training for more of um, technical type, that would be through AIS.
Mhm.
So hopefully that gives you some direction. Um, Again, that was our last question. Thank you for coming to today's session. Thank you for attending. Thank Roche for giving us that great information. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Don't forget to complete the post survey, so that we can hear from you. And if you're looking for information that we did at the construction summit, it is all online at chicago.gov/2024 summit. Again, that's chicago.gov /2024 summit. And with that, I say have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you.